Right, greetings everybody and welcome back. You know me already, my name's Richard Oman and you are watching Victory Assured. Strangely enough, apparently you're watching a version of me tonight, which is just about the biggest highlighted version you've seen so far. Which I find a bit worrying, truth be told. A tiny... Oh, wait. And now he has changed? Okay, everything was good. In any case, tonight we are going to play something very fascinating. Tonight we are going to play something, as I've teased before, I've been waiting for a long time actually. The previous game in the series, by Fail by the Games, was one of my favorites of the last few years. It is a little story game based on the Fallen London, or Echo Bazaar web game, which you can even nowadays find online and play. It's really good, really well written, it's quite fun. I do actually recommend it. It's quite well versed in Victoriana, in horror, in Caphonic literature basically. And if you're a fan of anything like that, then you should take a look. In either case, tonight we're going to look at the early access version of Sunless Sky, which has been released just yesterday. Or 2 days ago, I think it was the 30th of August. In any case, recently, quite recently. And we are going to jump right in, so join me into this very early version of Sunless Skies, into a world where Queen Victoria still rules, and where strange, steam-laden environs are filled and the skies are dying. Yes, of course, the greatest problem you'll have in an early access game is, simply put, not everything is finished, so there'll be some problems. I suppose we'll have to work around. Region 1 is available. We can't create characters. There are no trade opportunities or legacy. Legacies and character creation as well as trade is basically, these are features the previous game of the series had available. You see, Sunless Skies is a continuation of the Fallen London story from Sunless Seas and its expansion game, The Submariner. A very fascinating game actually, but something for another time entirely. I hope that Sunless Skies is a game better suited to being Let's Played, or at least Twitched in that regard, because I do love the Sunless Sea and the Fallen London stuff to death really, but it's kind of difficult to do because it's mostly text-based. So I do apologize if there's a lot of stuff I am actually going to read for you, but I'm sure you've already grown to like, love, or at least tolerate that, because otherwise you wouldn't be here now, would you? In either case, do enjoy it. I am now going to start then with a new game. Yes. Sunless Skies is in the preliminary stage of early access with many stories and functions yet to be implemented. As a result, earning money is currently harder than it will be in the finished game. For now, defeat enemies, deliver port reports to New Winchester, and complete stories. I suppose we'll do that. That sounds like what you'll mostly do in a normal game anyway, but okay. We'll accept a disbursement of fuel and supplies to get us started. Future builds will add more ways to good luck cap. Some fuel, some supplies, some sovereigns. Sovereigns is the money. Right, let's not forget, this is basically a Fallen London game. That means that no matter what we do, the entire background is basically London in 1888 has been stolen into the underground, basically, of the world by devils, where hell is a real place you can visit, into a dark, subterranean, cave-like environment called the Sunless Sea. Well, that among other things. It's a little bit more complicated, but that's for the future. The high wilderness, where stars burn and winds moan and mists drift in ragged folds. The suns make their homes here, and now so too do Londoners, building new lives out in the dark. Welcome to the sunless skies. Welcome to the heavens, perhaps a tour of locomotive. I suppose it'll work the same ship did in the previous one, as did fuel and heat. Basically, when you use the engine, it'll heat up. If you overheat, you can go faster, but usually it costs you more fuel, and, which is even worse of course, sometimes the engine can explode. That's bad. Galley, supplies and hunger, yeah, well, that's a mechanic from the space game as well. Terror I know as well. Gun batteries, I suppose it'll work the same. Crew, same. Falling at ports I already know. Hearts, iron, mirrors and veils are skills basically. You have, basically it's called constitution, combat ability, intelligence and subtlety, or basically cunning. Okay, let's continue. Or perhaps, I don't know. Nice. Oh, okay. Oh, we aren't even at port right now. So what do we have? We have the sky available. We are starting somewhere in the world, apparently. Is there a map functional? Yes. Now, just like the previous game, I suppose that the world is randomly generated. Now, in the previous game, you usually had some locations on the map you could have. Basically, you had your starting point for London, which is always at the same location, but everything else is partially randomized, except a few, really a few spaces. We're currently riding the Cinnabar, which is a spatchcock reclaimed locomotive. Because of course, being a Londoner, we are riding through the stars, the high wilderness as they call it, in a locomotive. Well, at least our locomotive has a Jerusalem, which apparently seems to be some armament, most likely a cannon, as well as the ammunition, a blunderbuss. Proper reload. I see. We have no possessions except 50 sovereigns, which is basically we are a shadowed stranger. Oh, the icons have been developed. We have fortunes. We have a number of peculiarities. Factions basically. Fortunes, the Independence, the Windward Company, and we have Slaws apparently. And Fallen London, souls is a real thing. People have souls and you can sell souls. And basically what it means is that you can extract souls from someone. Whether it actually influences your life is difficult to answer question, which is thematically actually asked in the base game as well. And, well, no one can. What's this? Character progression. Oh, interesting. Origin urchin. Sucks. They've actually added a new, very different progression system. In any case, and the fact was that smuggling souls could be a very profitable solution in that game. Because there are storylets, basically little opportunities to trade those stolen souls, usually to devils, or because they were a special kind of soul, like the soul of a dead god or something like that. And in this case, what I'm reading out is that there are soul flaws, apparently because these are our peculiarities, which are including basically things about the world at large, and several things that appear to be part of us. That we might now get soul flaws, which doesn't really sound so great. Our ambition currently is wealth, which means that we win the base game when we acquire a sufficient amount of wealth, I think 100,000 sovereigns, gold basically, and then can retire in the main city. Everything looks fine here. So, thrust ahead! There's cruise control. Oh, that's basically. Oh, God. Ah, interesting. They changed. Ah, I see. They did change the base steering system because this is space. So let's see. Fire, Mr. Shaft! Nice. Like that. And the secondary one. Fire die Blunderbus! Nice. Also notice the fact that this is not completely trans-Newtonian, well, movement. Because as you can see, we are getting slower. Press F to send out. Oh, scouting now costs supplies? Oh, you bastards. In the previous game you had something called sea-bats, written with a Z, by the way. Which meant that you would send out a bat, and if it returned, it could tell you whether you actually, well, you actually had something nearby. Let's send out a bat for now. Or a scout. Your bat returns and sulks in its roost. You grab it with beetles until it admits spotting something of it. Yeah, but where? Oh, on the chart now. Ooh. Okay. Very well, Mr. Shirt, set course to the west. East, I mean. Ah, yes, and as you can see, we are now actually not only using fuel, we have a number of terror points we're actually collecting. Our supplies are getting used. We're not creating any heat. Which is weird, by the way, but okay. Our hull points are okay. We have 10 crew members on board. Oh, what's this? A buoy! Ooh, a bigger structure. Okay. Lower, Mr. Shirt. Wispy condensation trails across the sky. Ghosts of passing trains. Ow. I don't know where the actual is. Or scams narrow. Yeah, we gained some experience. Ah, interesting, the Kizigard Gardens. Something very interesting to notice, unlike the previous game, you don't have any lights. Basically, in the previous game, because you were in the Sunless Sea, your bed is happy to have found nothing but... Oh, frack you. In the previous game, you used lights to navigate a place without a sun. Quite logical, actually, that when you can't see anything because there's no natural light, you use other light sources. Like, for example, on your steamboat, something like a lantern. And therefore you could constantly turn on and or off your lantern. Okay, Bancroft forward. There seems to be some sort of Gabriel's archive. Oh, great. That means there are angels up here. Great. Oh, that looks Bancroft forward. That looks load only. Ah, new Winchester. Mr. Chert, get to loading! That looks really nice though. I really like the art style. Pretty well. We are setting off to Wolvesey Station. The clamoring central station of New Winchester. A place of steam and smut and thundering iron. Here you can find people willing to pay for a skilled captain's service. Let's look. Smoky clanking scene stamping thronging frantic heart of the reach. New Winchester. Ah, an ever-expanding port of suits much glass and bright steel spilling across a drifting mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engine sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam. Locomotives chuck into sidings to repair or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. Second here. Okay, everything seems to be good so far. Yeah, okay, I think this is good actually. Right. You can see some captains, look for potential recruits. Don't need to repair anything. Ooh, a great house. A grand house. This is actually the place we might need to retire later on. As you can see here, Need a crown house and 25,000 silver. Okay, so more than what we currently have. Tons of wood. Can't use these anyway, so let's look for potential recruits. An occurrence, someone awaits you as 24. A new hand, that fatalistic signal. Promising recruits crowd the station, looking for work from incoming captains. The fatalistic signal. Anything is probably better than here, Captain. Affiliation villainy. Sure, I'll take you on. He sighs mournfully as he inspects your engine. It'll do, I suppose. Oh yeah, sure. Get me a settler. The settler wants to be taken to Trader's Wood. I'd appreciate it if you took me to Trader's Wood. I'm in the mood for a spot of sport. She rushes onto your vessel as soon as you finish shaking hands. Excellent. I'll stay out of your way then. You'll hardly even notice me. Any luck and you'll forget I'm even here. Okay, madam. Now, someone is calling to you across the busy station. It is the fastidious inspector. Excuse me, Captain. A woman pushes through the crowd towards you. She is short and square-shouldered, in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of a pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's Horological Office, the body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. I am hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Really now? Hey, sounds promising. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down on following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy than of diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Port Prosper lies a long way to the northeast of New Winchester. Not that there is such a thing as north out here, or indeed east. Instead, London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter, more reliable stars visible from the Empress's new palace and named them north, east, south, and west. Londoners value familiarity, and she paid us 50 sovereigns. A good start, if you ask. Now, that's Wolsey Station. What about Victory Hall? The Assembly, coalition of independent-minded settlers colloquially called Techities, gather and argue here, deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win Techities' favor. Victory Hall. Raised in the wake of the blockade of New Winchester, the magnificence of glass and steel houses the colonial assembly. Here representatives of the independent ports of the Reach gather and quarrel. Chat with the endured veteran. Yeah, it's the only person we can chat with anyway. She's taking a moment in the atrium, watching the stars burn coldly in the mists. It's an opportunity. Her skin is brown, and her hair is beginning to grey. She wears a heavy unbuttoned coat. Metals gleam in the shadows behind its labels. One half of her face is scarred from frostbite. She's enjoying a quiet cigarillo while her peers argue in the Chamber of Assembly. You talk for a while about life in the skies. When her cigarillo is just a stop, she says, I'd be grateful to hear reports of your travels. I have a suspicion all manner of information is going to kick off in the foreseeable. I'd like to be expecting it. You may obtain turret reports and turn them in here, which we will. In any case, let's pay a visit to the company house. Ah, the local headquarters of the Windward Company, London's proxy in the Reach. Deliver port reports here to receive rewards and win the company's favor. Interesting. In the original game, in Sunless Sea, you had only one place to deliver port reports. That was Fallen London's Admiralty, because only the Fallen Londoners' Admiralty, basically the Queen's Navy, wanted to know what's going on in the Sunless Sea. Here it appears like there are several sides. Following the uprising, the fortunes of the Windward Company fell in New Winchester. Now their modest offices occupy an ex-tinning factory in the murkier recesses of town. It continues to smell faintly beans. Chat with a pudent secretary. The secretary's gander is the subject of some debates in the company canteen. The secretary's prudence, however, is not. I would be interested to receive reports on events in 2 other ports, however small. The company has expansive interests, one never knows what might be important. So already we can see that there are several sides. Let us see, is there anything we want to buy? We can buy some fuel at the engine provisions. Some ammunition, apparently at Her Majesty's Emporium. This is a carefully packed crate of munitions. Sometimes a crewman pretends he's going to drop one. It's still not funny. Ooh, wait, I can sell these? I don't have. Eddy of dry tea. British's crinoline, or Lord Elgin's marbles. Oh, I can't sell them because I don't have them. But a barrel of unseasoned apple. Oh, interesting. So these are things we can actually sell, that is, if we had them. But, well, don't unfortunately. The Through Winchester Bazaar. Crate of nostalgic crockery. Bronze. Maybe at the labor exchange we could buy crew and crewmen. Oh, maybe at Abraham's Engineering we could buy an expensive wardrobe. No, can't actually. We already have both the Jerusalem as well as the ammunition. We can't actually buy the brass raven yet, and the rest, well, yeah, let's say we don't have. So no, mostly we are going for engine provisions. Right now our hold is basically filled to what degree? Don't have any positions? Oh, so, oh gods. Our hold is tiny. As in really, really small. Yikes. Also, fuel and supplies are horrendously. That's gods, that's expensive. I mean, those one of each. Okay, doesn't actually update this yet. Well, it's a starting game, so. We are off, Mr. Shirt. Put on the machines. 2 storylets are available. Oh! While we are underway, foggy conversation. The fastidious inspector has a round face, brown eyes, and short dark hair. She gives the impression of being perpetually busy. Begin with pleasantries. Your locomotive is being buffed by a boisterous stellar wind. Perhaps you could talk about the weather? I suppose it is rather gusty, she says. My work requires extensive travel. I've grown accustomed to the high wilderness's little tantrums, and your engine weathers them well. Some of the vessels I've been on couldn't even keep the wind on the outside. The fastidious inspector continues on. Let us inquire about her work, I suppose. What are the duties of an agent of the Orological Office? She sniffs. It is of fundamental importance that 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in one corner of the Empire is at the same time as 10 o'clock on the 2nd June in the opposite corner. It's an empire to function if it can't agree what day it is. The process is complicated by the fact that time is less reliable than it was. The hours trade has seen to that. Ask for news of London. The seat of the empire lies in far of Albion, where a man-made sun burns in the sky. Another sun blazed there once before her enduring majesty conquered it. Oh, that's actually bad. This is implying that there's a canonical ending to Sunless Sea about, well, let's just say you are actually able to find the constructed sun. It's a horrifying thing. Let's ask for news of London. London sits in a cloud of smoke. Courtiers squabble at the foot of the throne of ours, hoping to receive endowments of years. Meanwhile, hard-working civil servants labor to ensure everything runs as it should. Is there a touch of arches there? All is normal. I miss her though. There is no city like London in all the skies, and Albion is very different to the Reach, much more civilized. Well, I bid her a good evening then. And to you, Captain. I think I shall make a cup of tea. Yes, you shall have a path put for us towards the north. Also, as you can see by the explanations of the characters in opening the high wilderness is different from what you might be. The hell? Is that a trader? I do hope it is a trader, because otherwise that would have been a hit. In any case, this is like the Victorian age actually thought space would be. Like a sea of ether. Like a great plain on which you could travel. Almost ran into that. See, that's the thing, that's actually exactly what I mean, what happens when you don't actually get to see what's in front of you. Oh! Ow! Damn it. The howl. Oh, it sounds nice. A stop clock. The fastidious inspector approaches you on the galley. Captain, good day. I noticed your ship's clock had stopped. Perhaps you'd permit me to repair it? She has a little case of hopeful expression. I suppose we can just as well permit it. You prefer things to be right more than twice a day. Interesting. She gives a grateful flicker of a smile and sets to work. Soon she has the back of the clock and has spread tiny cocks across the galley table. Obtuse horological tools gleam brassily among them. Everything has a place. I appreciate the opportunity to keep myself busy. Daring to learn the stars is harmful to the temperament. A coggy conversation. Let's compliment her skill. Her hands are deft and short. She polishes, she cleans, she reassembles. Thank you, she says. A small, embarrassed silence. It's possible the inspector is pleased. It's rather hard to tell. Oh. Discuss the Reach. The wild frontier. A sunless domain, but impossibly verdant. With gargantuan vines, cathedral-sized bronze woods, and livid fungal archipelagos. It is an uncouth splendor, but I miss Albion, the steady light of the clockwork sun. The sunless reaches are so misty and quiet. She pauses, but critical. The territories here are rich with raw hours, and enough vegetation grows on them to feed the whole of London, even if some of it is a dubious shape. Yeah, okay, so apparently we brought those on as well. Let's just say that some chthonic creatures were found in Sunless. Discuss the suns. What happened to the Reach's sun? And London has a man-made sun. How did Her Majesty defeat the old one? We warred and we won. It's not my area of expertise, I'm afraid. The suns made the law, they say. Now Her Majesty makes it. As for the Reach's sun, she looks through the window at the lightless, stirring mist. I don't know. Do suns grow old? Do they die of natural causes? I think that would probably be better than the alternative, wouldn't it? I suppose. Well, let us bid her a good night. That's not blocker. Also, let's send out the bed for now. Your bed returns and soft. You grab with your feet. It's spotted something. Yes, concentric circles. Maybe there is something. Maybe even a route we can actually travel along. I have no idea actually at this point. Okay, there's green. Even in Sunless Sea there was your bridge windows fog with grease and steam trails. This place is well frequented. Yeah, well, I can't see shite, guys. There's something. Yeah, there is something there. Oh, what the hell? Oh, what is this? strange place. Broken Scots. Well, what might we have found here? But it is we have to approach it from this side, apparently. Onwards, Mr. Shard, onwards. I want to be there before the dawn. I'm giving it all, Captain. I do. But give it more. This is Magdalene's. Careful. Ow. Damn it, Mr. Sheriff. It wasn't cool. Right. Oh, the House of Small Comfort. Magdalene's is the closest thing many skyfarers have to a home. It offers services to alleviate the strain of spending of a life spent too close to the stars. Interesting, we can improve our condition here. The glass spires of Magdalene's pierce the clouds like swords. The stained glass clock tower presides over a cluster of buildings as a mother superior would over wayward charges. Shadowed figures can be seen moving through the gleaming corridors, their identities obscured by the huge glass. Crowds of skyfarers, ministry officials and merchants mill about in the forecourt, in varying degrees of distress. All watch the clock and wait for the appointed hour. Let us collect a port report here. Someone will no doubt be interested to know how things here are and who has been seen. Magdalene's is a buzz of activity. Barely has the clock chimed when a clamour goes up at the front desk, guests rushing to and from appointments. Lord So-and-so was seen in conversation with the amenable host. The east wing was closed for general access all day. A certain distinguished admiral was seen with second in command, entering one of the chambers of regret. Several guests succumbed to an excess of sentimentality and were forcibly moved. I see. Ooh. An opportunity. The amenable host would like a quiet word. And we could get the placeholder quartermaster? Yeah, sure. Hello! He waves cheerily as he comes aboard. We have now a quartermaster. The founder and master of ceremonies at Magdalene's. He has requested you by name. An attendant escorts you through the dazzling violet corridors. The host's red door is always open. The attendant leaves you just as the clock begins to chime. The amenable host, reclining on a couch of crushed velvet, a goblet of sparkling wine in his long fingers. Somewhere in the tower above him, the great clock ticks away. His atrium is always open to guests, who regularly indulges all manner of complaints, friendly criticisms and suggestions. Today, however, he has a headache. Listen to his request. See, beckons you. His voice is soft and sibilant, like butter melting in mellow candlelight. It seems that there is a guest who has got rather too attached to a particular attendant. Always he requests the same attendant appear in the same guise. The amenable host's lip curls at distaste. He reiterates the aim of Magdalene's, a place of healing, of sanctuary, and of respite. It was never intended to feed a broken heart. That is an unhealthy state. To linger. This guest brings sickness. I would have him purged. I have a dossier on our guest, if you're interested in help. Continue. Take the lachrymose guest's dossier. He has requested us in helping remove him. The amenable host's smile washes across his face like a wave destroying a sandcastle competition. I'm so glad you can help us. He produces a thin sliver of pages and passes them to you. I'd recommend taking on the role of one of our attendants, and in so doing, playing the role of someone significant to him. The amenable host sighs, reaching for his goblet. He knows all of our attendants by voice now. Someone new is needed. Onwards. Deal with a lachrymose guest. He stands on the threshold of the treatment chambers, his hands trembling. The attendants on duty have been briefed as to your involvement. How do you plan to deal with him? A treatment chamber has been emptied for you, should you wish to adopt the guise from his past. Alternately, he has stood right there. He does not seem to have noticed you, his eyes boring through the doors of the treatment room. Oh gods, look at this. We either go at him directly, which would be a very sensible way to try this, but could be dangerous because he immediately knows that we are weak, and therefore not the one he's expecting. We could disguise us as his mother. Sorry, apparently there was some sort of peak there. Didn't mean to do that. Well, we could disguise ourselves as his mother, which I find to be a tad problematic. Or we could disguise ourselves as his lover. Anything, as long as it gets rid of him. Very well, let us approach him directly, I say. The lachrymose guest's eyes widen as you approach. Has there been a problem? You invite him to sit. Stiff brandies are ordered. You recount your own share of heartbreaks and tragedies, how you have found yourself here, and you make clear that despite all that, you will be leaving. He nods slowly, and after a quick shake of your hand, walks away towards the station. He does not look back, and unwelcome. You are welcome in the unmeanable host's sight. Ah, yes. The attendant leaves you just as the clock begins to chime. Let him know that his guest is gone. For better or worse, you will not be returning to Magdalene's. The amenable host smiles beatifically. Of course, my staff will be pleased. It is a risk of our trade, when our clients can no longer separate identity and illusion. He breathes out, his sigh echoing around the atrium like a loose bird. It is a trap any of us could fall into. Here, take this. He fishes around beneath his couch for one of his goblets. It'll fetch you a pretty price. Take it with my thanks. Do visit us again. We gain 10 sovereigns. I've done him a significant thing. I suppose we should leave for now. Who knows what else might be here later on. Beatifica's beautification. Nothing useful to buy apparently, except for gold. Very well, Mr. Shirt, start up the engine. On I go! We are onwards and onwards. No, we are off. Bad. Interesting, you know what would be cool? If these islands in the sky would actually rotate. You know, have them have a little or slight amount of motion basically. That would be interesting. I wonder how large the first area of the reach actually is. Oh, another ship. A locomotive apparently. Oh right, I also just noticed we can't change locomotives yet. Something which was very interesting in the previous game, and also very important. So I think the music might be a little bit loud. Yeah. Okay, this looks much better. I pull it. Gambler's Grove. Yeah, see, the biggest problem with the earliest playthrough is always finding everything new, and on the other side, of course, once you know the location, you can actually chart a real course through the sky. Up until then, however, it's mostly just a hopeful drive into the unknown. The hell? Are these bones? Are they... is this wood? Is this some sort of graveyard? The Battle of Culverstone. Where have you found something, Betty? Hey! Oh god, up there! You know how far away that is? It's far to the north. Is the shirt? Set course north. Aye aye, Captain! Sorry. But we are actually making the best course at the moment. Okay, for a moment my game was frozen there. It was critical. Am I on the right course? Oh yeah, I actually am. Nice. You know, you have to be warrior there, because you can of course always... The bridge's clock chimes twice quickly, this close to the sunbird line time is obvious. As you can see, the day has already jumped ahead. Is it... Oh, this is below us. No, where it is? Strange places. One thing I have actually just noticed and I really like so far is the fact that they have actually lowered the fuel supply we need to actually do some. Oh, we found Port Prosper and the Ag Bonon Spring. And we might actually progress our turtle. Select a facet or deed. An unlikely haul. Ooh, I like this idea of developing the character. So we can either increase our abilities in Veils and Heart, or Veils and Weakness. Or on the other hand, Veils and Iron and Veils and... Oh, that's actually quite difficult, you know? At this point I don't actually know which ability is really that good or isn't. Though, truth be told, usually I've found that mirrors is very nice. I also just noticed they've actually taken out one ability. An unlikely haul. A week before your 13th birthday, when you would be driven from the urchin gang, you took part in a daring heist which scored an unusual haul. Silent as cats, you burgled one of the grand gloomy mansions of old London. In a hidden attic, accessed by a stair concealed in the back of a rosewood wardrobe, you made your discovery of a trove of disgraceful secrets. His lordship wouldn't want the contents of these letters to be revealed. In return for them, he'll pull some strings. Once. Oh, see, that's why we have an origin of urchins. We ran for Knotted Socks, one of the famous urchin gangs of the area. The Queen's Cross Station then. Welcome to Port Prosper. Ah, Queen's Cross Station, of course. Cramped at the feet of a hulking crag, Port Prosper is a little London, divided into an affluent West End and an impecunious East. Queen's Cross is its busy station, the terminus of the Isambard line that begins in far off London. Oh, interesting. So therefore this is where we actually would be able to go to London? In the original game you could go from fallen London in the Sunless Sea towards the Mediterranean through basically the tunnel of Dante. Basically you could go up from the sea and then up a water stream into Europe basically. That was very fascinating as well. Port Prosper. The narrow streets of Port Prosper huddle in the shadows of a great crag. Bunting festoons the walkways. Banners display the stony features of her enduring majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip. Meanwhile, sooty East End workers file to the Wawa refining factories. Peeling posters promise fresh, wholesome lives in the reach to new arrivals, but many of the posters are years old. More newcomers arrive at Port Prosper than ever leave. Okay, there's a parade of the Red Saint. We could recruit the Clay Conductor, which... The clay conductor in this case is interesting because this means he shakes your hand firmly. It's like being grasped by an avalanche. All aboard, then. I simply cannot thank you enough for the opportunity, Captain. Oh wait, it's clay conductor, but not a... Usually, in Fallen London or the Sunless Sea and Fallen London itself, the clay men were big, giant, all-cap speaking creatures. Very different. I suppose we'll write a port report for now. Very little happens on Port Prosper, but someone might take an interest. The factories continue to belch out smoke, while off the bridge hopeful crowds gather outside the Admiral Nelson. Lovers can be seen strolling arm in arm along the promenade, at a respectable distance from their chaperones. There was a brief protest outside the Windward Company factory, swiftly quelled. The scones of the Nelson were as good as ever, though the piquancy of the jam was less than might be desired. Another port report. Attend a parade. Parade is apparently the feast of the Red Saint. That doesn't sound... Right, let's see what... Gaudy banners fly over painted rooftops of Port Prosper. The smog of the East End is hidden away... Music, interestingly enough. Hidden away by giant posters displaying dragons and varying degrees of vivisection. The cramped streets are clogged with people. Wealthy East-West Enders promenade about amusement, while impoverished East Enders work with stalls and huddle by the chestnut fires for warmth. A painted dragon pursued by knights is chased through the crowds to a chorus of "Oh, we're riding!" We could mingle with the West Enders, with the East Enders, or with everyone. Oh, let us walk among the lines. Skyfarers are not limited by the rigid social structures of Port Prosper, for neither are they beloved for it. I can take your pitiful stares. The sky is mine. You are treated as curiosity and viewed from all sides with suspicion. Still you find yourself in conversation with an elderly colonel who is retired to Port Prosper. A bulwark of sanity, he calls it. A line of the sand against all the stuff out there. He introduces you to one of the riders in the procession, who takes you on a tour of the carnival. You converse with chestnut sellers and flower arrangers, drink in the outdoor pubs, and dance with several of the vaudeville players. At the end of the day you've learned many names and faces, and even acquired a few calling cards. You aren't tolerated by both sides. The parsimonious chairman is out on his morning constitutional. East Enders steer clear of his route. West Enders drag down to make intrusion. What the hell is this? Oh, 810. Oh, amusement. I don't really care for Port Prosper yet. Only Fulbright's allowed to sell stuff to I even have one? I have a cryptic benefactor. I have 30 sovereigns. I actually need to go buy a unit of fuel, but I don't need... No, sooner or later need supplies. The Mornington Abraham's path to Fulbright factory. Oh, I think there's no quick button for the quick charge. Oh, the edge. Oh, I see. It's on tab, that's why. Ah, yes. That's are fine. Just needed to basically get that back into my hand. The steering model is very fascinating. Basically, like a very, very disturbed kind of, I think, hovercraft maybe? Kinda weird. Anyway. Out you go, my little seabed! Mr. Shirt, make way, set course to south-southeast. Yeah, Captain. How many degrees will that be, then? I'll say about 160 degrees. Oi, oi, Captain. Mr. Shirt, make that 120. Aye aye. Is that an animal? Or at first I thought it was some kind of, I don't know, zeppelin maybe? That's usually animals are evil. Sorry. Mr. Shirt, did you just miss? No sir. I did hit, but not the enemy. Yes. Shoot again. Aye aye sir. Mr. Shirt? Yes sir. What did I just say? I don't know sir, I didn't listen. Fire. Aye aye sir. You know, for some time now, I think you've been drinking, Mr. Shirt. Could you stop that? You know, for firing the cannon? I'm not drinking, sir. It's just targeting Wallace. Is it now? Aye, sir. Interesting, there's no health bar even. Oh, just sloshed. That's some experience points. A cantankerous placated. It is possibly dying, its beady eyes dull. Smoke hisses from fractures in the shell like hot springs on a volcanic tundra. There is a disastrous smell. I don't know how good our chances here are because this is a free. Oh, 100% chance of success. Oh, okay, man. What's this? You unlock this with Prue. Bill for fleshy bits. Apparently there is eating on a cantankerous. Not good eating, but eating. Gain supplies. Your burliest stoker volunteers to operate the drill. She floats out to the calcifying carcass and sets to work. 10 minutes later you haul her back in, her drill bit broken. The next crew member goes out with a fresh drill. After that breaks, you establish a rota. Eventually, the burly stroker returns, her teeth chattering with a cluster of measly organs palpitating in her hands. Your cook does their best. But we did gain some supplies. Okay. Oh crap, did I forget to deliver the inspector? I did, didn't I? Mr. Shirt? Yes, sir. Actually, that wasn't your fault, so I'm not going to say anything. Thank you, sir. Sure. Yo, on the jet and jet. Are those pirates, or is that a patrol from London? What's missing so far, though, of course, is the ambient track you are listening to while in the waters. Sunless Sea had this very well done, and had some great soundtracks you would listen to while on the way, basically. Actually, you listen to the opening during the starting time. Deliver the fastidious inspector. He disembarks with a bag in hand and peers up at the clock tower that is being raised above the station. It is tangled with scaffolding and rings with the sound of hammers and the cries of workmen. Accept your payment. I have space. Oh yeah, we do have space. Sweet. Oh wow, 150 sovereigns is nice. Thank you, Captain. Here's the balance of our agreement and, as promised, a requisition order for fuel and supplies. He casts another glance at the incomplete clock tower. Given the apparent state of construction, I'd recommend you visit the worksite. There may be an opportunity there. And thank you for the pleasant conversation, Captain. The sky can be a lonely place. Given the look at it, I have included a small additional sum in your remuneration as a token of gratitude. Oh. They will pay for a delivery of bronzewood and stained glass. You may be able to purchase bronzewood. Oh, there's actually new clock tower. They plan to call it the Albert Clock. in memory of a departed Prince concert, but there's a way to go yet. The roof is not finished. The clock neither ticks nor bonks. You can see the fastidious inspector among the workings with a spanner and a can of oil, showing the workmen how it's done. Ask what they need. Perhaps you can secure it.
The bronzewood,
The foreman says bluntly.
one consignment. They sell it at Port Avon and Traders Wood, I hear, and a pane of stained glass too. The Winchester's your best bet there, or Titania, the Flower Town. We'll pay proper like.
You can purchase necessary goods, return them to Port Prosper, you'll make a tidy profit. Be warned, the materials aren't cheap in space. I thought as much. Very well, we will return to the new clock tower once we find out what the hell our bad found in the south. Farewell, Port Prosper, farewell, fare thee well. The crewman's observation. Your navigator sights up to you.
Hey, you've been keeping up with the days, Captain.
He unfurls a yellowing newspaper. Your passenger from New Winchester has her face splashed across the front page, beneath an impressive and improbable list of charges. The Ministry of Public Decency is offering a hefty reward. You'll ponder this. Criminal, eh? No need for rash action. Your passenger is a wanted fugitive. She does not know that you know. A quick change of course back to New Winchester is entirely possible. A swift extradition for her, a well-deserved reward for you. Or you could continue on to her destination. Who knows, she may have reformed, you may be sympathetic. If she's on the run, she may be willing to pay handsomely for her transportation. Does he mean the passenger I took, basically, who wanted to go to Traitors? Because he can't mean the fastidious inspector, because she's already been delivered and she's not on board anymore. Wait, is there an also resume? Open. Oh, there's a okay. That could be interesting. Okay, I made a screenshot, but apparently no debug. Also, I have no idea what the hell this kind of ship is.
Cells, Mr. Shirt, keep safe! Sorry, sir.
What made you think you could just drive on straight into them?
Well, sir, I tried.
Mr. Shirt, you're an idiot.
Thank you, sir.
That wasn't meant as... Oh, forget it. We have peculiarities, port report, affiliation. We have a first officer. What a... Oh, okay, so basically we can't do anything with him yet. So we can still get a chief engineer mascot. These are all positions basically just like you had in the sea. Only there you had them at the top here. I don't know why they took that away. Maybe that's basically simply not in the build yet, but who knows? Maybe they wanted to change it up somehow. Oh, these are the quests we currently have. Oh, that's a nice look actually. I like the fact that they changed that up. You know, in comparison, I really like the way the entire GUI now looks. It's very Victoriana-like, basically turn of the century. On the other hand, however, I am missing some information somewhere. How deep the greens, how cold the stars, how wild the reaches run, with no sun to rule it. Hyacinthus' rest. The hell? A bomb in the night. Oh gods, I forgot our terror. Midnight, London time. You are alone in the night. On the bridge. While consulting your chart, a loud thump makes you look up. A frozen corpse is pressed against your forward windows, trapped there by your speed. The winds must have plucked it from some lost wreck and carried it into your path. The corpse's glare is insistent, its moustache bristled with frost. The current condition is nervous with 1%. So we could either send a crew member with 50% luck chance, or try to shake it off by applying a series of... Let's try to shake it off.
Try to shake the corpse off with a series of drastic moves. Success. A sudden breaker canters starboard. With a squeal of flesh on glass, the body slides from the windows and is lost to view. A scrap of its sleeve remains caught on a rivet, flapping like a tiny celebratory flag. Still, you are not alone. Oh, that's actually... Okay, why is this number 2 now? Is the way we collect terror now so different from... Okay, so apparently someone is living at whatever the hell this place is. Ah, capabilities cabin. Some strange bridge construction. Ah, see, there's the port. Now where the hell am I? I really need to know, guys. Lead Beater and Stainrod's Nature Reserve. Oh, interesting. In Sunless Sea, Lead Beater and Stainrod were weapon production. Was a weapon production company. To the loading bay then. Lead Beater and Stainrod is an elderly London company, the custodians of the Empire's first supernal nature reserve. You'll find work with them, head for capabilities cabins. If you'd rather enjoy reserve, however, seek the gateway of Albert's Idyll. Look now to the concrete bay, however, is for loading and unloading locomotives. First, however, interesting. I want to have an either. The concrete bay is for loading and unloading. It appoints tourists who expect to arrive at a scenic waterside. It mainly caters for the workers of the Lead Beater and Stainrod Company who come to collect goods from the laboratories. A crude and incautious driver. The wreckage is still burning just past the station. I'm in need of work, they say plaintively. What the hell? Damn good engine.
They squint at your locomotive.
By Jove, I think this could be made to go even faster.
In any way, the reserve is a point of pride for the Empire. Give a report. The Lead Beater and Stainrod Nature Reserve is a national park maintained at great expense of the company. Scores of researchers come here to study the nature of the reach. Many visitors come here too for a pleasant holiday. You have collected a port report. Nice. Alright, let's converse with our fellow captains. What brings them out here? For a few it's the work provided by Lead Beater and Stainrod. For the rest the reasons is the same. They are drawn by the beauty of the reserve. Some are here with tourists from across the Empire. Hey, Founder X. Others are here to give their crews a respite. Others were simply passing by and couldn't resist stopping in. Sounds like a nice place. Ah, yes, the Lead Beater, Stainrod Nature. 2 capabilities cabins. A clump of cabins used by Lead Beater and Stainrod's researchers as they plumb and catalogue the secrets of the reserve. Enterprising captains may find work for the company here, at the base of research. Read the request to all partygoers. The phlegmatic researcher.
The keys to understanding the remarkable principles of growth and cultivation are waiting here in this verdant paradise. We only need the specimens. Not for free, of course. If you aid our research, I'm sure you'll probably be remunerated. A good day to you.
With that, his party pushes him on and into his laboratory. The wings of a chorister bee, ants newly introduced to humankind, Hybrid pus and ice from Old Tom's. The frack? Oh, interesting. Yeah, no. Sunless Skies is not actually released in the normal sense that we're talking about. It is in early access. It's been released into early access, basically. In a way, you can say, like the previous game, Sunless Seas. So that might be why it might be so surprising, actually. I can totally understand that. So they are looking for ice from Old Tom's well. That sounds like some sort of story, actually. A most curious phenomenon, the shelves of black ice. But from whence does it come? What call has the ice to freeze in a place otherwise so warm? Yeah, well, I can tell you. I don't know if I want to look for something called pus. Oh sure. Wanted, ants newly introduced to humankind. We have received curious reports from certain homesteads about the behavior of ants. Given these reports of the ants circling those soon to die, I've just started basically an hour ago. I've read some of the early stuff, got my first person, and run around a bit, founding basically only the first area. The reach is so far finished. So I have only seen New Winchester, the starting area basically, as well as Port Prosper, which is basically the connection to foreign London itself, apparently, or to London as it has risen now. So we'll suppose we'll learn it both. Wanted, the wings of a chorister bee. To determine the cause of their melody, we seek the wings of a chorister bee. What is it that makes them sing when their small sisters only buzz? Wanted, Hydra pus. The weeping sores of hydras may yield deeper insights into the word and reach. It may hold properties either beneficial or detrimental to the human frame. We intend to find out. Oh, you are going to apply that to someone, aren't you? Oh, yuck, guys. That's not cool. We'll leave the capability cabin area behind us and go to Orbit's idyll then. The Late Peter Steinrod's Nature Reserve is an immense untrodden hinterland of the Reach's unreasonably fecund flora and fauna. It is popular with London's more outdoorsy tourists. You don't say. Let's go into the reserve then. The park is filled with birds and flowers, trees and woodland creatures, streams and bumbling insects and other insidious dangers. Visitors are not allowed to venture too deeply into the reserve without an escort. Good thing then that we have found the ornithologist. Podcasts are forbidden from entering the deeper sections of the reserve alone. We arrange therefore to go to a tour.
At the moment, we have only one who could show you around now, she says. I'm afraid he's our least popular, but he's the only one available. Just a moment, I'll fetch him.
Sometime later she returns with a lean, humbly dressed man. His beard is long and wiry, and his smile reaches his eyes. The romantic ornithologist shakes your hand.
This gentleman, the clerk says, is searching for the mythical bird that takes grains of time from the mother of mountains. He's wasted 10,000 sovereigns on this pointless search.
That's interesting. Also of note now. The ornithologist maintains his smile and gestures towards the forest path.
I'll be glad to tell you of the bird, but first, come, I've just found a new waterfall I'd like to show to someone.
Oh, interesting. Let's see. Make conversation with the ornithologist. If he's not hiking through the wilderness or camping beneath the boughs of one of the great trees, he is sat alone in his watchtower searching for his bird. He offers a slight nod as you enter.
Oh, welcome, welcome. Tea?
Oh, ask about the bird. He's researching a mythical bird, however. What is it, and why?
There are other birds I could study, of course, he says, shrugging. But that's not the point. This bird is holy. It's a myth. A bird who takes a grain from a mountain we now ravage for time. Why does it do this? Where does it go? Have we disturbed its divinity? I must know.
Interesting. So, what about the reserve? How did you find the wilderness? He smiles like a child.
It is my home, he says. My church. It's everything that makes me happy.
Apologies, apparently I'm kind of going above the current sound. No, there's some sort of problem apparently with the sound. For some reason he's sometimes collecting or getting the sound and sometimes he isn't. Moment here. Okay, apparently remove that. Yes, okay. Right. Yes. Ask about his fellow researchers then. Is he on good terms with the other scientists? The ornithologist tilts his head from side to side.
I get on better alone. It's not that I don't enjoy company, but...
He scratches his beard.
I think it's a difference in philosophy. They want to conquer nature and her secrets. I only want to be a confidant.
Discuss aiding the ornithologist's research. How can you help him discover this mythical bird? He rubs his chin.
Well, there are a few ways you could help me out.
Ah, how? He smokes his pipe as he looks out of the reserve.
It's fluttering about there somewhere.
He says,
And one day I'll prove it.
You may search for a bird only once per cat. Oh! Oh, interesting. Oh, we need a good mirror's value and then we can find it maybe. Oblige a crewmate to be his helper. If he had another set of eyes searching for the bird, he might find it faster. The romantic ornithologist clasps his hand and walks over to a chest of drawers.
And they will be welcomed indeed. I'll make the most at home. Tell me,
He says, opening one of the drawers and revealing a tremendous array of pipes.
do they smoke?
Of course, that's important. Of course. Now, did this increase my chance? Oh, it did actually. Wow. Donate supplies. A little snack might give it cause to land. The romantic ornithologist sniffs his stale bread and gives an appreciative sigh.
Ah, it'll crumble it finally, he says. I'm sure it'll enjoy the offering. Thank you.
So, 41% chance. I could suffer to lose another crew member because we need less than half to go at lower speed. So, offer a crewmate. Yes. Ah, 62% chance now. May search the bird only once per captain. Find me the bird. Where is it? The reserve is silent. The universe is, if it can ever be, at peace. The ornithologist watches one horizon, you watch the other. Through your binoculars you observe the final moments before the world wakes. The snails on handrails, a rabbit den, its sleepers soon to wake and rush into the world. Clattering of wood breaks the silence. You turn and find the ornithologist standing, his chair knocked over. He crumples to the floor, blood trickles from his mouth and drips onto the hardwood floor, his eyes wide enough to take in the whole world. It perched on the windowsill, he says, grasping your hands. We watched each other for half a minute before it flew away. Small, just a ball of feathers. He grips your wrist tight enough to stop the blood flowing to your fingers. You pull away from him and cry for a physic. A nearby ranger hears you and rushes off. Half an hour later, the trembling man is brought into convalescence. I have seen the face of God, he repeats over and over. I have done it. I have done it. Your current romantic ornithologist dream is now gone, and all things in time. Also, can you buy anything useful here? A caged catch, interesting, but no. Ooh, they're actually buying caddies of dry tea here. Suspect I don't need actually. So off we are then! Oi! Mr. Shirt! You tell your God where the frick you're driving at? Aye, Captain, but you know, it was just as I planned. It's not like I could have known. You're my navigator, Mr. Shirt. It's your mission to know. Well, you know, Captain. It happens. Right. Now, nothing of interest nearby, and I have no clear direction where to go next. Therefore, we'll have to search the area. Drive across the great ether sea, the high wilderness that is the sky, that is the fog, that is the stars and space, that is the great unknown. Sending out the bag costs me more supplies, and I don't really want them. I think we might have found something which our bag missed, a stranger that might be. Our locomotive is now entering rocky terrain. I wonder whatever might this be. Okay, I see some rocks floating in space. other than that, well... In my little locomotive, I'm traveling across vast sky. Choo choo! I have no idea where the hell I'm actually going right now. Well, I do know that New Winchester is somewhere somewhere. Your bat returns and sloughness rules. Your driver the Beatles until it admits spotting something of interest. Ooh, somewhere far to the south. Very well, Mr. Shard. Have you no course? Set it and get on. Answer. As I must say, the stars seem more and more treacherous. The high wilderness is done. What the hell? What is that? Is that a... That's a giant hand around a piece of wood and a cabin on it. What the hell? I mean, I have to admit, the previous game already had dead gods and anything like it, and the things you sometimes read about, your characters found, were kinda creepy. Yeah, awesome creepy as... I'll have to do a stream of Submarine at some point. That was... strange. Weirdness can be weird at times. There's a storm here, and the fog is thick. Look out, Mr. Shirt, I do not want to have another crash. A flurry of snow blows past the window. Uman curses the cold with picturesque profanity. Does he now?
Captain, I think we are close to whatever the seabed spotted.
And what did it spot?
The giant mountain! Mountain! Look out!
Oh, Sullivan's sight.
Ask me which key.
Lustrum. As a navigator, you are most unable.
Oh, sir, it's a plane with the eyes.
Ask the rich thing. Well, let us see what we can find at the prospector's quarters then. The frantic, hustling heart of Lustrum, crammed with prospectors, peddlers, and purveyors of essential and occasionally legal services. Most businesses take place here, unless you're a dreamer seeking your fortune on the claim fields. Lustrum. What was once a pleasant small town, the mother of mountains, now runs on increasingly desperate dreams of riches. Oh, we can explore it even. We can write a port report. We can actually do a lot of stuff here. Okay. We can find a claim, visit a company, attempt to climb the mountain. Let's make a port report. Fools sell their futures for a chance to mine years from the mountain's frozen side. Smarter minds sell pickaxes, supplies, and the promises of a warm bed at the end of a bitter day's work. Write a port report. Hours of a new gold in Albion in the reach. While Lustrum's fortunes remain, it is of interest to many. So much for a quiet retirement village that used to be here. The rush of prospectors has ripped the civility from the place as efficiently as the geodes from the mountainside. The scars that remain are no less vivid. Fewer and fewer prospectors return with geodes of ours, and the cost of processing them off-site grows every day. Still, for now, Lustrum thrives and offers the promise of riches for any lucky or industrious miner willing to come and risk everything in the snow and the mud. That doesn't really sound that nice. Okay. Explore Lustrum then. This port started as an enclave of Londoners hoping to absorb the youthful energy of a mountain. Then the prospectors arrived. Your boots crunch through the snow, clean and bright, lacking the lingering sadness of London's ammonia-suffused lacquer. Ah, I remember lacquer, a substance white and somehow wet, but not quite like snow, and not really like water. It just was, well, lacquer. And pray do that you never ever touch the stuff with your bare hands, or worse, taking a bite. For nary a soul escapes its influence. The townspeople nod politely to you, a distinguished visitor, but avert their eyes from the grisly prospectors and get-rich-quick merchants who have taken over their slice of civilization in the mountain. They wait impatiently for a day when the mountain has nothing more to offer, and the uncarved invaders finally leave, hoping that something still remains when all of value has finally been plundered. Aww, that's kind of sad. Do I want to try this? No path leads up to the peak, but with a sturdy stick and a stubborn attitude you might be able to forge one. What the hell? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We could die, please. Oh, we failed. It's an almost impossible climb. The snow is deeper than expected, and the cliffs in your way both taller and more treacherous than you can handle. You reach for a rocky handhold, it crumbles under your hand. Luckily, a snowdrift not too far below catches your fall. Lying winded in the snow, you give up. The mountain is victorious for today. You retrace your already fading footsteps to Lustrum, where the fireplaces are always burning. Okay. Let's see. Sweet Jane's counting house. Someone has to assist the miners with the finances. A little accountancy firm snuggled in the snowy drifts. Sweet Jane oversees everything herself. The transference of funds, the balancing of probabilities, the transport of commodities, the termination of contracts. She's swaddled in a monstrously ugly red scarf, huddled behind her desk. One hand in a fraying glove fiddles with her abacus, the other is held above a little coal fire. One good eye focuses on you. Her mouth twitches upwards. Listen to her offer. She's asked you here for a reason. She stands up and limps to a window, pulling back the threadbare curtain. Snow batters the thin window pane. The shadow of the mountain is all but lost in the blizzard. The offices of the Windward Company are visible by lantern light. I was raised by the company, you know. Children are faster workers. You understand? Her fingers drum on the windowsill. Such a waste. Where they see profit and asset, I see resource and value. Where they see man, they see labor. Where they see time, they see chains to bind us. Where they see death in the skies, they see victory. She turns to you and smiles. Bring me nameplates torn from London's ship. I will see you adequately compensated. Sweet Jane's vengeance quality is now existing. Return to the street for now. Interesting. That might actually sour our reputation with the people of New Winchester and basically everyone who's from London. Maybe in the pub? Irritable miners jockey for space by insufficient fireplaces. They pay for the overpriced drinks with their dwindling coins or lower quality hours. A few fortunates bear the mark of minor success, the baby soft hands that come from regularly handling unseasoned hours. Oh God, because it's returning time to their hands, which means it de-ages you. It makes your hands younger, and therefore oh, that's creepy. Let's approach the figure in the corner. It sits wrapped in a dusty, disintegrating shroud, nursing a flagon that never goes to where its lips presumably are. The cloaked figure beckons to you. Valuable for sale, it wheezes, its voice throaty and high-pitched. Exchange for buried time, yes, please. It offers unusual relics in exchange, or a few rusted coins that would barely buy transfer to anywhere else. The miners try to ignore it, but must have some reason to bother setting up its stall here.
Everything ends.
The figure wheezes.
Even law. For everything a reckoning. Need help. Need hours. Postpone reckoning. Shadows with missing robes and broken wings. Waiting on riverbank to catch final breath. Everything dies. Must outlast. We trade, yes. Trade hours. We trade hours now, yes. Good quality merchandise.
My experience with foreign London tells me that people called Mr. Noun or item are to be handled very carefully and usually at a distance. So, return to the miners. They are at least a cheerier bunch to spend time with. And maybe leave. This is a creepy place. Visit Murgatroyd's Golden Tea Shop. Some come for fine teas, others for the carefully prepared manila folders underneath the counter. All agree that the scones are divine. An oasis of London civility and culture in a town with little of either, Melusine Murgatroyd stands proudly behind the display of fresh scones and slightly yellowing cream buns. At small wooden tables, successful prospectors and their significant others welcome themselves to the world of the nouveau riche with a spot of afternoon tea. Pinky fingers stand proud and erect from bone china cups covertly topped up with moonshine. Oh, you naughty people! Speak to Melusine. She single-handedly runs both the family business and the family business. Unless you count a small gaggle of overworked and underpaid maids, which Melusine apparently does not. Smelling faintly of burnt hair, she tinkers with the latest invention intended to be her ticket out of both this no-horse town and her father's control. Eyebrows, she confirms, are a small price to pay for scientific progress. You know, I like my eyebrows, truth be told. I do know how someone without eyebrows looks, and I find it creepy, but that's mostly on me. Look at Melusine's inventions. Her workshop is slowly taking over the back room of the salon. It's an assortment of terrible opportunities. Oh, you poor darling. Melusine glows with pride as we examine her mostly untested inventions. The clockwork lens array that offers superhuman levels of telescopic sight, provided you can insert all 6 sharp brass hooks under your eyelids. The internal combustion privy, ideal for handling unpleasant waste products and warming whatever's left of your house after the inevitable explosion. An automated pickaxe capable of striking Earth 7 times a second. Melusine nods, irritated. Pity about the minor bone-shattering issue. The only thing she won't let you poke at is a twisted arrangement of glassware and electricity in the corner. That is not mine. Not entirely. I'm still working on that. Complicated. You know if you know. If you don't, I shouldn't say. I see. Interesting. Something for later, perhaps. Also, she has kept uncanny... Ooh, she has savage secrets. Return to the shop for now. And maybe enjoy a lovely cup of tea. A reminder of a proper civilization is a thing to be cherished, especially out here in the reach. A moment of peace and quiet. Melusine's maids hurry around, serving a clientele more used to bellowing at bartenders than sitting politely with exquisitely cut cucumber sandwiches. Why cucumber, though? Eventually it is your turn to be served. You are invited to choose your preferred blend. I'll take... Eleutherian gold sounds like something I should know, because Eleutherian is, as I remember, actually a naming convention from the Victorian age, but I can't remember for the life of me from when or where I did read that. But we'll take some indulgence blend, straight from the Blue Kingdom. Ah, a tea for the true connoisseur. A taste of dust swept from the darkest corner of a sepulchre. It is best served with a drop of milk, ideally on the very edge of turning. You sip gently. Between sips, a bite of sugared biscuit to take away the edge. We lose 5 terror, which we apparently still have, and which hasn't returned because we are in port. Weird. But I think that's been everything now. Okay. Take a look at the claim fields. The mountain slopes are waned with the unmined hours the enduring Empress hungers for. They are dug from the stones as geodes, minutes growing within them like salt. Most geodes are the size of a walnut, but legend says old Tom, one of the first prospectors, excavated a whole century, the size of a whale. The mother of mountains stretches on almost forever, from its snowy peak down through seemingly endless strata of lethal nebula gas. That sounds incredibly dangerous, you know? On the far side of its cliff, the Windward Company's machine stripped the rocky flesh from a mountain and cast its ore into the perpetual fire of the furnaces. Prospectors from Lustrum have to do everything the hard way, chipping away at the frozen hard-won claims in search of precious hours. The mountain is treacherous. Most of the accessible parts are already staked out. That does not mean that we can't try to look for something. It is an aborted journey, however. The conditions are harsh. The mountain seems to fight your every step. Ropes left behind by other prospectors coil around your ankles. Old boxes of supplies loiter under the snow, ready to trip you. It's almost impossible to tell the difference between one patch of land and another, never mind the value of individual claims.
What you need is an hour archer,
advertises a passing hour harker. He grins. He doesn't have many teeth, but those that remain are capped with gold.
Come find me in town if you want. Or not. There's always more of you showing up, eh?
I see. What does Sweet Jane sell? Of course, barrels of unseasoned hours. Why am I not surprised? What I am surprised over is the fact that you are not selling supply, which is bad for us. We do seem need supplies and soup. Planes. Oh wait, all of this? Wow. It's a gigantic feeling to me. Wait, that's moving on something. Yeah, it is. Cool. Bad sand. He's happy to report he found enough of it.
Players with a happy expression for him.
The hell? You are reduced to the last pitiable remains of your supplies. Scraps of corned meat, mouldering crackers, a dismal box of unloved lemons. Break the news to the crews. Reduced rations. This won't go down well. Damn it. They don't shout, they don't complain. They just trade trenchant glances as if to say, told you so. A bad sign. You'd better bolt your cabin door. I really can't take a mutiny right now. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, and we do still have some remaining. Damn it. Sending out the bad costs more supplies, damn it. I wonder though, I think I'll need some sort of music like Starlight Express or something like that. Apologies, I just felt that this was somehow unsatisfying. What the hell? Another battle site? Maybe. Oh, interesting. Wait. Ah, that's where we fire these. Okay, the background just changed, if you notice it. Not really that fast, but okay. Apparently, suddenly moving to the left or right builds up tremendous amounts of heat. Ah, yes, another locomotive wandering across the sky. And my game suddenly stopped. You can still hear it in the background, I hope. Wait, get back. Okay, it's still working. Good for us, I suppose. That's the thing with early access games, of course. You never know. Keep on going. The sky winds are calmer here. Lazy breezes prickled with pollen. Is that a giant flower? What is? The hell? Titanium. Titanium. An argument between artists. Whispered throughout the reach to be a perfume paradise for artists. Perhaps it could be. But currently it's little more than a few houses built around a plaza. And if they are able to agree on a unified aesthetic, which if the shouts from Valentine's Square are anything to go by is unlikely. The debaters stand before Rhapsodic Mayor, desperate to convince her to decide the question in their favor. She only listens, her dreamy smile widening with each line of argument. Approach the Mayor. The debaters fall silent as the Rhapsodic Mayor raises her hand and waves you over. The Mayor shakes your hand, and so does the pharaonic enthusiast. A precious pleasure. The formidable Ornagata. Charmed, I'm sure. And the efflorescent dandy. Welcome, Petal! The Mayor clasps her hand and looks heavensward. I'm troubled, beset by visions while sleeping and waking of how our little port may look. Their beauty captivates me, paralyzes me, stuns me. She sighs. They're all so wonderful. I simply cannot choose between them. She turns her eyes to you. But you're neutral. Won't you help us? The hell? Oh gods. The pharaonic aficionado, Egyptian aesthetic. The formidable lacquerer, Japanese aesthetic. Or the efflorescent dandy, vegetable aesthetic. What does it look like to you? It's a giant vegetable. No. Argue on behalf of formidable lacquerer, the Japanese aesthetic. Tranquil and melancholic, like the stillness of ancient ponds. Bombastic and colorful, like a drunken revel under paper lanterns. Always perfect to the finest. The formidable Onagata bows. The Rhapsodic Mayor clasps her hand in delight. The others slink away, defeated. After the Onagata excuses themselves to gather their tracts on Wabi-Sabi, the Mayor winks. If I decided on one, I'd have risked the scorn of the other two. Our perfume parliament has trouble getting along. Thank you. You've gained a moment of inspiration. You've arrived at the Petal Port, Titania. Valentine's Square is the center of the commune's loosely organized public life. Here the Mayor keeps her office, its walls hung with artist impression of plans to develop at port. The hope of Titania. The Mayor invites you to sit with her on a bench. Have you ever seen anything so beautiful? She asks, inhaling the perfumed air. Actually, I find that disgusting, because most perfumes smell really badly to me. We'll fill our home with tea houses, koi ponds, and paper lanterns. But if we're to truly be a haven for us, we must embark on greater projects. Unfortunately, we're limited on space and working with no budget to speak of. We rely entirely on donations. Would you mind taking a look at our plans? It sounds like an interesting proposition if she actually tells you what you want. She pecks your cheek and leads you to her small office at the end of a square. A building as makeshift as any on the frontier, but its sins have been covered with a fresh coat of paint and carved filigree enhanced by delicate colors. The mayor's office. The walls are lined with blueprints submitted by the mayor's perfumed parliament. You've met our aestheticians. Aestheticians, I think. But these come from our architects. We've submissions from every artistic school, the rhapsodic mayor proudly knows. The celestials, the nocturnals, the sovereigns. Can choose among these during Fallen London actually. It was very fascinating. Nothing would delight my heart than to build them all, but we've not the foundations laid to support every project, nor, frankly, the money. And if I'm to assign public funds to one, the others will throw a fit, and the next thing you know it'll be civil war. But that's where you come in. If you provide external funding to a project, I may authorize it and see that it's built in peace. I might consider that after I made state of a paddleport. The Titanian air is heavy with pollen, but sweet of a smell, a far cry from Albion's smoke-strangled capital. Let's see. We could go for the Library of Yore, the Saturnine Theatre, or the Imperial Ballroom. Actually, I don't want to do this for anything. Let's leave her for now. What's the Bloom Bower? Here the Titanians make their homes, each built according to the aesthetic whims of its owner. Some are tall, others wide, a few are slim and curving, while some others again have wide voyeuristic windows. Undeveloped. So this is a place basically built as this cozy park. Metal Fall. Let's see. Oh, the Traveler's Return. Sweet. These. Yeah. Hold is filled again, and we have again food. Maybe now they won't actually. Oh, interesting. We'll sell throats of thirsty bombazine, which is a special kind of silk, basically. Paints of stained glass. You know, 90 sovereigns actually put some good into this box. Oh. But the big petals is basically plates, I suppose. Sense, makes sense. Also, why did Alcibat not find this plan? It's really bizarre. Of course. Stupid bad. See, this is interesting because in difference to the previous game, Sunless Sea, where you could constantly send out basically your sonar signal or what you could see bad without any real cause. Here it comes to supplies, which are dwindling down that much faster. Therefore, it suddenly becomes an expenditure. It suddenly becomes something that might threaten survival, and therefore limits your explorative senses on one hand, but on the other hand allows you to plan out whether you actually want to search for something. Of course, what the hell? That tree just spawned in. That was strange. Is it supposed to happen like that? Am I sending Jack and the Beanstalk? No? Why the hell not?
Mr. Shirt? Aye, Captain. Load the cannon. Aye, Captain.
Well, what we do, Cap Cannons, my good friend.
Fire! Fire! Oh, the other ship has been destroyed, Captain.
Yes, I can see that. Good job. Good job.
We have taken a hit over. Aye.
You have defeated a Tacti Scout. The Scouts are not built to last is a truism in the Reach. You reflect on the vivacity of a statement as another cabin goes up in incandescent smoke. You may gain fuel, or find unusual cargo. Search the hold. What could it be? An intriguingly bulging sack. How pleasingly it rattles! A stoppered while falls out of a sack after sufficient shaking. A collection of gathered disappointments that someone might be willing to pay for. No mangled nameplate, but two jumbles of undistinguished soul. Haven't found one of those so far. I hope it didn't actually influence my standing with the Tacti's. Oh, there's another one!
Full speed ahead! Aye, aye, sir. Fire! Yes, we hit, sir. Another hit, sir.
Okay, that's really strange. I don't think it's supposed to pop in there. Let me set back a moment and see. Yeah. That's really weird. And okay. You can't even see I'm on the map, but okay. So yes, you can notice. Still an early access.
Aha! Fire! Damn it! No, 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 no! We must no! Crack, 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 no, no, uh-oh.
Okay.
Damn it! Aha!
A rupture! No! Frick! With a groan like a dying whale, your locomotive's hull buckles. Your hull has fallen to zero. Your engine dies. Your vessel splits apart. The code takes you. Thank you for playing the Sunless Skies. You may not creating it. And so the High Wilderness claims another. Interesting, we could resume from the last autosave. Didn't even know the game has such a feature now. Most likely because they haven't yet found time to include the legacy mechanic, I suppose. Okay. Hey game. Ah, there we are. Back in Titanium. Oh no. Syndrome. Human grimaces.
Chorus to bees!
Oh my gosh. Oh. These are here. I really need some sort of method of identification. Let's try this again.
Pirate!
Oh! You have defeated a Reach Marauder. The raiders have gone down in smoke. You stand over the wreckage, poised to take from it what you will. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. "Are a pirate, yah yah," languages. Some of it is even intact. You may gain your unusual cargo.
"Well, Mr. Shirt." "Hi, sir.
What did you find?"
"It's a distressingly odored barrel. Actually, none of the men are really that keen to get close to it."
Oh, let me look at it. The lid is gingerly removed. All breathe a sigh of relief when coke is revealed, black and precious. The captain's truest friend. Also, this was a marauder. Only it was entirely passable and acceptable to destroy pirate now. Or is a kind of pirate, right? In any case, I am claiming it as such, and therefore it's all fine. I did not just kill the innocent civilians. No, sorry. No. Oh god, it's another battle site. If it is one, of course. Apparently there's been a war between the settlers and Albion, or England basically, London as it is. And some of the remains can still be found alongside the Reach. We found a very big place called the site of the Battle of Culverston, where we found humongous wreckages and pieces, shredded identity basically, death galore. Nothing else so far. One more. You do... I actually do miss the ability to overcharge your engine. I really like that. Especially since it only took part of your hull and usually didn't kill you. Maybe they'll implement that later. But we have found another Reach Marauder. And as he's not attacking us, too bad for him, because we are attacking him. Yes! Haha! Gotcha! Beating another... Ooh, what's this? Raiders have gone down in smoke. And the wreckage can gain money or unusual items. Okay. Explore the captain's cabins. Those are rarely democratic. The captain's rules by strength and claims the best of her own. The cabin door did not survive the onset of your guns, nor did the captain. You have to tread carefully. The carpet will not be safe. A few stored documents sit on the bronze wood desk. They make for an interesting reading, and apparently London had need of a very few captains willing to bring fire to the Tagetes. Would not have expected the signatories of the order. Now Salon's stewed gossip. How surprising! Really now? And what's best, it doesn't even take point basically. But it does take over is damage. Where is my Salon? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's part of my character possessions, basically. My Salon stewed gossip. A scurrilous tidbit so salacious it is better than fact. Oh wow. Alright, my moment of inspiration. If I remember correctly, you can actually use those for a reroll in certain situations. A chance for rerolling. Or beanstalks. I'm not completely sure what we'll get out of these, but maybe they have some use. We don't have one for now, that's for sure. Do I have a bonus? I want to go to have you found that? Ah, somewhere. Ooh. Deep in the south. Beyond there are only stars. I think it's some kind of stone with some output. Yeah. Your engine steams through the lambent mist of the Reach. Across a region of rebellious Techites and London loyalist stovepipes quarrel and skirmish, the balance of power is precarious. What changes unfold while you are out in the sky? This is a placeholder content that manages the progress of the Winchester War. Read the Gazette at New Winchester to learn of recent events. Something has changed. The war moves on. Smoke is whistling from the boiler again. The guardsman puts down his copy of a new Gazette and heads towards the engine room, intent of giving someone esteemed talking to. Sometime later emerges sheepishly. The whistling continues. Your pipe rattles as hot water curses through your locomotive. A sigh of relief goes around the galley. Okay, I thought the war was over. Ruins claw the sky. The work of giants. And there must be, considering the kind of... Be destroyed! Oh god, what a dangerous dance. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Will you please stop firing at me? Damn it. Too far. No. Yes! Haha! Gotcha, bastard! I mean, I was a bad mon, but still. A Taggedy scout has been destroyed. Such a holder. You found a class jewelry box. A sheaf of letters falls from a concealed compartment. The pages are rife with scandal. You would not have believed it of her. You would perhaps believed it of her. So, more gossip apparently. This, you can no longer fire one of your... Oh, damn it. Oh no, oh, shite. Bastards have damaged my Jerusalem cannon. You're going to pay for that. Time for a break soon. We've been at this for 2 hours already. I want to see if there's a landing spot at the ruins, however, first. Oh, there might actually be. Look at this. This reminds me of some of the settlements from the first game. Oh, you have found Wilkins instead. And we have gone far enough that we can actually progress at Port Avon. So, we are, after all, an urchin. We ran with knotted socks. Later on we found that we made this unlikely haul. Duke's treasure, singular. What facet or we do now that changed our lives? Where we scandal maybe? Isn't that? Was it an interlude in red and gold? The smoggy streets. A mentor. Find one. A spell in prison perhaps. You know, I actually want to have a better idea. Yes. An interlude in red and gold. You lost your mind once. They put you in a splendid hotel managed by a cheery gentleman who would determine when you could leave. How colorful the other guests were. How red the curtains, how gold the fittings, how secure the locks! Eventually you were allowed to leave. Was your recovery genuine? Well, yes, you're feeling much better now, thank you. Through trial and error and determination you learn to tell what is from what is not. The manager said he was sad to see you go. Considering what he's talking about, I wasn't. Oh. Very well. Here at Kettle's come. We support Evan. What the fuck? No, I want... Come on, locomotive. Head into port. Yes. Slowly but surely. Arriving at Port Avon. Behold, a ruin of giants. Gargantuan blocks jigsaw together, furred with moss and whispering with orchids. A bucolic village nestles among them. Smoke coils daintily from the chimneys. A leisurely game of crickets unfolds on the village green. On the one hand, I like the very events, but don't like the fact that they force it as soon as we are here. I didn't even push a button. Disembark. A ramshackle dock juts into the sky beside the farmyard scattered with rusty locomotive parts, plating, piping, a chugging motor with its innards exposed. And an oily-faced, black-haired girl waves your locomotive into position. Welcome to Port Island! She calls as you disembark. A rich knot of scents greets you, leaves and wood smoke, enriched by an infrequent but pungent intrusion of gold. Port Avon welcomes new visitors, but your novelty will wear off the more time you spend here. When you visit in future, you may need to bring something to keep them friendly. Okay? Port Avon spills prettily across sections of colossal drifting ruins. That's right, Waterfall. The locals are willing to update you on the news, there's not much to share. Were it not for the talk of smugglers and sky beasts, you could easily confuse this place for a village in the world you left behind. It's quite peaceful here, apart from some fuss over a newspaper delivery. The villagers frown and change the subject when you ask about it. Okay. Oh. Damn it. What's the village green? What it is, however, we'll find out after this break. I'll see you in a few minutes. Don't go away. Right, greetings everybody and welcome back. Let's continue our exploration of Port Avon, the village green, and another surprise music. I think this is one of the strangest ones. There should be music. Maybe they'll add later on. However, we don't already have music here. No. No, actually, no, Super Mario, that might actually. A golden nebula scintillates. Yeah. Above Port Avon's apple trees, allotments, eel fishes, and steepled church. Here you may, if you choose, immerse yourself in the village's quaint river. The village green. Yeah. The heart of the village, surrounded by orchards of real apple trees that were shipped through the avid horizon as seeds. Oh, this is where we go from the north. Interesting. Ah, as endowment of years from her enduring majesty grew them to swift maturity. Ah, take a relaxing stroll. Or watch a cricket match. Let's watch a cricket match, a good old cricket match. A crack of willow and leather, a hesitant smattering of applause. The game could charitably be described as stately, but there is a moment of excitement when the batsman hits a six and the ball whizzes over the thatched roofs, off the edge of a pond, and is lost forever in the starry deeps. The audience grows. Play stops while someone goes to get another ball. I think this was not the first time. What's the nowhere in? Boveridge's A Tour of Heaven describes Port Avon's single public house as a welcome respite, justly famed for its authentic old earth cider. The locals can be welcoming for a while. You may be able to recoup more crew here. Can I now? Port Avon's first public house stands amidst a nodding copse of apple trees. Inside, brass gleams on the beams. Window latches, doorknobs, and other fittings retrieved from the first locomotives that carried people here. A great polished wheel hangs on one wall. Let's read a work of speculative fiction. In the nook by the fireplace is a shelf of magazines. Each contains a story by the local author, the turbulent fabulist. The fabulist's work has been accepted in a number of publications, including Murgatroyd's Miscellany, Hearth and Haven, and The Seasonal. He is prodigious. Which story catches your eye? The Vacant Throne, being a tale of political inevitability from the perspective of empire. Another silent century passed. Upon the throne the king's corpse withered and sagged, mold devouring the incarnadine robes. Then a sound. The doors opened. A woman entered, young, scared, a sword in her hand. Behind her were more men. More swords. About time, thought the throne. And thus we gain a sky story. I have no idea what it is. Or even... Oh, it's a Bohemia thing. Sky story. Let's read another one. Maybe... The Devil's Confession, being a satirical tale of infernal ambition and mortal folly. His companion's hooves thumped on the crimson carpet. The corridor was long and lined with doors, each of a brass knob. He opened one. The room behind was filled from floor to ceiling with bottle souls. He tried another, the same. We've never found a use for them, the devil admitted. You are no longer welcome in Port Avon. You may be able to become so again in the dawns. Oh, unwelcome. Conversation stilts. The clientele stare at you balefully.
Last orders just closed.
The barman grunts. You leave the stuffy silent pub and return to the dog. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Show me your old storehouse. Okay, maybe your little orchard. Right, that's expensive. Oh, I have a rate of nostalgic. No, I don't. So, oh, I can sell that if I have it, but I don't. I really need to change that in future versions. Because that's damnable weird. Basically, the game shouldn't show you things with a number starting with 1 if you need to sell something. I suppose it's one of those little things they'll take all the time. And therefore through the skies we roam. No idea where I'm going. I do however know that my terror is now level 3, whatever it means. Oh, again? Damn it.
We'll find something.
Ever closer, our remaining supplies inch to the lowest part. I wonder why they changed it from the lower one, which ticks up basically, with the end point at which you know, oh, no food, people are now going to cannibalize each other, to ticking down. Must have been a reason. I'm sure they'll tell us in time. Or change it, whichever works. So, do New Winchester event it might be? Hope so. Would mean that we'd actually, you know, give them the 4 reports, but then again, you need money. We need supplies. Also, why does this look like eye, screaming mouth, screaming face, creepy? Oh well. Must be my imagination. Freaking overactive. Oh, almost there. I think we might actually get a new Winchester. I wonder if they've actually reduced the entire amount of fuel and supply consumption that your starting vessel uses. Or if they are still, you know, somewhere within the early stage where they're actually like, oh, we don't know what the going rate will be, we're just testing that out. Both are entirely fine, it's just that, well, I have no... The frack? Okay, according to the map, I'm already at New Winchester. But I don't think it has actually popped in yet. Okay, this is something they really need to change. Because that's not working. And if that's not working, that's bad. As in really bad. I mean, I mean, it does look nice, but without any territory to actually explore around us, it might be kind of hard to play this. It's a really weird bug. Well, only on early access games, or modded ones, but you know, beside the point really. In any case, okay, our last food supply is now run out. In theory that would not be a problem, because in theory there'd be a city right now, right here. In practice, not so much. But apparently nothing's happening. Okay. I don't know. Did I hope I didn't crash on it. Oh wait, actually. Oh, there it is. Something's going on. Some of the crew look comparatively nourished, others are more gaunt than ever, and sport livid, unhealing bruises. If pressed, they claim the bruises are a result of an accident. Accidents happen on board, of course, but so does extortion. Punish the ones who look better fed. Even they are just skin and bones now. The birch will sting like oil of vitriol. The birch sinks. Screams resound through the corridors. The food set stops. Here, by God, you'll all starve together. You know, we can, however, go apparently a surprisingly long amount of time without. But the problem is, I don't actually have a place to deliver the core report to. Okay, they need to change that as well. The fact that I can hear my voice in the background is shaking hands, stomach pangs, delirium. Was only a matter of time before the accidents began. A corpse has been found in the engine room. A ruptured pipe released a fatal jet of steam. The body's flesh is seared. A sound from the gathered crew. Someone just licked their lips. Get the body to the skies, and quick, before some fool suggests something unforgivable. Wash the body and wrap it in muslin. Gather the crew, mutter a handful of uncertainties. Was the deceased really an example of diligence or forthright? Well mannered? Afterwards, open an external door and give them to the winds and the cold and the lazy, lingering mists. Do not have enough supplies, I know! Telling and reminding the game. It's not like we are currently suffering from starvation. No one on board of this locomotive is suffering from starvation. Come on, man. What do you think we are? Oh. Yeah, the civilized Englishmen, after all. Come on, game. Back the city. Starvation is your passenger now. He stalks the corridors, he reaches out a pale finger and another of you wastes away. He becomes accustomed to the discovery of cold sunken corpses. Commit the corpses to the skies. A proper sky burial, or as close to one as you can manage. Gotta be some way to get it back. I don't know, really. It's really weird, actually, that we are unable to see that. Another sky burial, then. Lost 2 crew now. 2 are dead. They're dying like flies towards the starvation. There's no hope. Nothing we do, nothing we say can change us. Wait for corpses. Now there are but 2 and Mr. Shirt remain. We are looking at each other. Never. Soon there will only be one of us. As we both look at each other, we know that the time will soon come. It is not long now. Already we are both little more. Some time ago, you had to remove a bristling mustached corpse from the front of your engine. Now the corpse is back. It is knocking politely on the exterior hatch and asking if it can come in. Not for long, you understand. Just to warm up. It's chilly out. Of course. Indeed, permitted. It is indeed chilly now. You open the hatch and the corpse thanks you as it enters. Its knees crackle and pop as it takes a seat in the passage. As it warms its icicle fingers on a steam pipe, it makes deliberate small talk. It complains about the weather. It compliments your locomotive. After a few minutes it stands, thanks you for your kindness and shakes your hand. How cold it still is. An icy gust blows in as it opens the exterior hatch and steps out. Stoker! More fuel to the engines! Already Mr. Shirt is asking if you are mad. He has seen nothing. No one. Nothing except you opening the hatch. Tried to kill yourself. If you tried to kill him. The terror is unbearable. Already you feel haunted. And yet... Then... even Mr. Shirt is gone. You are alone now. No one is with you. You have withstood the call of Mr. Eaton, the call to eat the flesh of those who traveled with you. But the price you paid for it will be your life. No one else remains. You have already tried to eat the carpet, the sole of your shoes. And then... there's no more crew. There is no more food. Your locomotive is as hollow as you. The hunger pangs gnaw at your innards. Close your eyes. Your captain has met their end. The locomotive drifts emptily through the sky. A grave of iron. Around, above, below. The stars burn on. Uncaring. And thus the high wilderness claims enough. I suppose we'll have to try this again later on once they've made the first bug fix patch. Change that. In any case. Go. There's an ambient sound but no real music apparently. Right, in either case. You've been watching Victory Assured Let's Play Sunless Skies Early Access version. This has been a fascinating thing for tonight at least, and I'll see about what we'll play next time. But in either case, I think we're done here for now, for tonight at least. Also, I'm feeling quite exhausted because working. That's beside the point. This was fun, and I'm sure that once some of the problems with the game are fixed, some of the ways to make money or create a character implemented, will be a great and fascinating playable, just like the previous one. In either case, for tonight, for us, this journey is ended. My name's Richard Erman. You've been watching Victory Assured, and I thank you for watching me tonight. If you liked what you saw, please give me a follow, like, share, and or subscribe if you are watching this on Twitch or on YouTube. In either case, thank you again. Good night. I'll see you again on Sunday.